So we're here now with Mike Snelling, the Norfolk Surf Lifesaving Club president, an absolute legend, and you'll all hear why this man is a legend in this episode of the podcast. Mike, hello, how are you?
Morning, George. Doing good. Very happy. Slightly nervous to be on this. I know this is a high standard podcast, so I hope to live up to it.
Like, you absolutely will. High standard. I like it. So this conversation with Mike is going to be very much a club environment conversation about development of what Norfolk, how they've developed that East Coast. So Mike, let's just go straight into it. Norfolk, I suppose, is an area where surf lifesaving is growing, blossoming, in fact. And Norfolk has been around since 2008. In 2012, you managed to open your clubhouse, which we'll talk a bit about in a minute. So just tell us a bit about life in Norfolk Surf Lifesaving Club to start off with.
Sure. So it was founded in 2008 by Stu Thompson, who was working for the RNLI at the time. So I think that's a name that a lot of people will be familiar with. And started as an idea and a logo flag on the beach and some equipment in a container behind a swimming pool in a village far away. But we're up in Cromer, just up in North Norfolk. For most people, to put that into relative reference, when we come down to nationals, it's a nearly 900-mile round trip. It feels like you could be driving to the moon and back to get to us. But we're out on the east, just on the east coast, just in the North Sea. And yeah, we started as a kind of really small, probably lifeguard only to start with. Not intentionally, but just that's the interest was there. And then luckily over the course of 3 or 4 years, got to a position where Stu and Ben and a couple of others were able to convert or get permission and then grant and funding to convert an old Victorian set of Victorian loos, basically a toilet block, into a clubhouse and then next door a surf school. And so we've been lucky to have a base that made a huge difference. And then since that, the club has grown. We've been very thoughtful. We'll come on to that later in terms of what we're trying to achieve. But it's grown nicely, equally between kind of youth and nippers and opens, but also recently the adult community as well. So it's been really nicely balanced. We've been very, I think, thoughtful about how we keep that balance. So, but yeah, we're out here. We've got 92 miles of beach in Norfolk, so we're not shy of that. There's rocks everywhere, so that's slightly different from some other places around the UK. And it's just been an exciting few years. So I'd love to talk more about any questions that you have.
Yeah, nice. And we've seen more recently that a few clubs have developed in Norfolk. Waveney, I think in 2017, and Munsley in 2018.
Sure.
But Munsley, they sort of had a little bit of research on the Munsley Club, and in 2008, the Norfolk Surf Lifesaving Club Mundo Sessions was launched as a pilot scheme to establish the need and community support for a surf lifesaving club in Munsley. So it sounds like you guys in the club were very much involved with sort of assisting its staff.
Yeah, sure. Right? So we had families from Munsley at club. And Munsley's a lovely village, 7 miles away, with its own wonderful stretch of beach. And so more and more interest was being generated into our club. And as you're trying to grow structures and systems and ratios in place, we were starting to get kind of overwhelmed with the junior waiting list, which is a key indicator of is there enough community interest and support to establish another club? And so we called it the Mundo Sessions, which was a summer, not investigation, that's wrong, a summer project to see, is there appetite in the local community that would support setting up another club? And the answer was yes, yes, yes. And so we're wonderful to have a club just around the corner, which I think, and we were talking before this, I think one of the things that is helping grow the surf lifesaving community in the East is more and more opportunity to have other clubs to compete with, other clubs to join forces with, other clubs to share ideas with. And I kind of include, let's take that all the way through to Blyth and Aberdeen and Lossy. That's the east. And so it's about, I think, growing that sense of community and that sense of interest on this side of the country.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And there is there's a lot of beaches around that need development, and what you guys have done there is just incredible to offer support and to sort of form more lifesaving clubs. Yeah. Now North Norfolk, you have so many great stories from North Norfolk and different ways you guys run the club, which I find just incredible. A large sort of topic is the membership. Now,
Yes.
on your website, it's stated that it's sort of £10 membership towards the club, and then they go on and become members of SLSGB separately.
Yes.
So £10 membership. You've got a clubhouse.
Yes.
How are you sort of affording this?
So the kind of clear parameter to answer that question is we wanted to solve a challenge that's local to here, and the challenge question was, how do we create an inclusive club? And within inclusive, I think, comes the word affordable. So, and where we are up on the East Coast, what we didn't want to do is exclude people because of a price point. They can't afford it. So the decision that we made really early on is we'll charge incredibly low membership and we'll raise money in different ways. Now that's our strategy and it's working to this date. And will it work forever? I don't know, but it's worked for the last 15 years and we're still here. So yeah, whatever the SLSGB fee is, and I know that's going up next year and I still think it is incredibly priced. We just add £10, which is like an annual administration fee, and then you're a member of the club. And then outside of winter pool swimming, to pay for the pool, we don't charge for any sessions. So we have a low membership fee and you don't pay to train. So that means the secondary challenge is we have to fund it in different ways. It's worked up to this point, but I think it creates a different community response to when they view the club and the volunteers and what people are trying to do. And the fact that we don't charge high memberships and things like this, and that's our choice here locally, I think it creates a different challenge and opportunity for the community that we have in the club.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so what sort of things, so you ask them to go off and fundraise
Yes.
In different ways. What sort of ways do they do that?
So so anyone who joins, and I think this goes, I'd say any adult who joins, but I think this goes into all the communities, but I certainly say this to the adult community, is if you join us, there's no fees, but we'd love you to try and raise £100 a year. Now, that has a wide range of responses. Okay, so that has all the way, no harm, no foul, no pounds, through to people setting their own challenges, whether it's a physical challenge or a social challenge or something to do together. Almost gets slightly competitive to who can raise the most.
Yeah.
So that's our ask of our community, and then the wider local community is to help us in that way. Be creative, think about how you can do this. We don't want to charge high fees. We want to provide a service. So we need your help to solve that problem. So to give you some examples, we have kind of two income streams. They're well known within clubs, but I'll go through a few of the other ideas that we do as well. So the formal income is through courses. So lifeguard courses, we try and do 2 or 3 of those a year. In its time, we had the kind of hit the surf and the junior lifeguards, and I know they're morphing into more established things now. And then to increase confidence and also future membership, we run a Women in Waves confidence program in the summer. That's oversubscribed. And we just started a Men in Waves as well. And that's increasing our adult membership. That's increasing people's local confidence to even just approach a club. I think sometimes our clubs are slightly unapproachable because people don't think that they can step into that environment where they can. Then the kind of non-formal, let me give you a couple of examples. We're in our 10th year now of what we call the Felbrigg Annual Trail Run. So it started as a club only thing. It was a sponsored run, 10 kilometers in a national park. So Felbrigg Hall is a national park, part of the National Trust. A key component is it's not on the park run schedule.
Okay.
So, and we're the only community that can do a sponsored run on there a year. So it's quite attractive to the running community. Now, it started with just us as an internal club, but it's in our 10th year now, and we get up to about 400 people come and attend that. So
Wow.
we do it annually. They pay up to £14 to come and do a 10K. It's all the infrastructure's in place. And I've got to be honest, if we challenged ourselves a bit more, I think we could do it twice a year. I think we could probably get a bit more interest and get maybe 500 people to attend that. Maybe do that twice a year. That's 1,000 people helping towards the funding of the club. So I'd encourage anyone, if they want to know more, just come and ask us about that. We're in our 10th year. We've learned a lot of lessons along the way. We're very lucky next door to us. The founder, Stu Thompson, who founded the club, he and his partner Becky own a small coffee shop called North Sea Coffee, and every year they're really kind to us and they do a silent auction. So local arts and crafts and local facilities give prizes or pieces that go into a secret auction, a silent auction, which once a day on the run up to Christmas we say what that is, and then anyone in the community can bid. And it's really great things that people can win, but that normally raises somewhere between £3,000 and £5,000 a year for us. So,
Wow.
so there's two kind of big established things that have been going on for a few years. Other things, and this is just about saying to our clubbies, just help us and be creative. So other things that have happened over the time, we've had lots of, I mean, I never knew this word, but we've had lots of school mufti days. I think that was called non-school uniform when I went to school, but it's called mufti days now. And some of those can raise, in a high school, it can raise £1,000 towards club. And that's just younger clubbies saying, can this time round it go towards the local lifesaving club? People running marathons, that's quite normal. We had two people, Tom Wright and Rob. They biked from Land's End to Lowestoft, so the furthest west to the furthest east. That raised £2,500. Had people swim to the Solent. Had people climb mountains. Had hot chocolates and tea and coffee for donation on Boxing Day dips. And then some usual things is we have a very engaged award ceremony at the end of the year. The raffle normally raises a good amount as well. So I think the key for me is we're constantly surprised about what our club is prepared to do. If you just support and encourage them and create that community, that it's a club that is successful because of the community, not necessarily just hinged on a few individuals.
Yeah.
And I think clubs go through that cycle where sometimes a club is in a cycle where everything just falls onto 2 or 3 people. We've been incredibly lucky. We've had Nick Hutley as a wonderful chairman for the last 6 years. And one of the things that he's done with great purpose is grow our level 1 coaching, our level 2 coaching, our volunteer coaching, our beat support coaching. So these efforts fall on more shoulders, which I think is really useful.
Yes. Yeah. That's incredible, and some really lovely fundraising ideas. So, and it's interesting the school mufti day where sort of members take it into their own hands and they go to the school and say, guys, can we sort of raise money for the local self-lifesaving club?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
so I think on a mufti day, everyone pays £1 or £2. And if your high school's got 1,000 kids that are doing non-school uniform, and it's one of the kind of 15, 16-year-old club members that will propose that to their principal or headmaster saying next time round, can that go to the lifesaving club? Then that's a real nice, successful way to do that. And
yeah.
I think the kids quite enjoy non-school uniform day as far as I'm aware. So
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. It's really cool. And we go on to the next one, a bit about
sure.
Sort of a volunteer incentive scheme.
Yes.
So sounds like you have many members, you run lots of sessions in the week, you need lots of volunteer help. But is there any sort of scheme or incentive for volunteers that you run?
Yeah, so I think there's 3 answers to this, and I've not said this before, so it's not Hollywood, so sorry if I get the words a bit muddled up.
Yeah.
Number 1 is we try and find a lot of things outside of club for our communities to do, whether it's just a social, whether it's taking people out for some food, whether it's a barbecue around someone's house. So clubs, this club's quite intense. So, and that could be never ending. So it's trying to find things outside of the club setting that also fosters community, keeps volunteerism together. So Ollie is an example. He's a good outdoor climber actually, and he organises climbing mornings for our volunteer community in the local climbing club. So it's just a different discipline. So something different, I think, is one thing.
Yeah.
In the volunteer setting, we pay for courses. So if you're going to come and help us, we really appreciate that. So we'll pay for those courses. If you want to help and compete, we'll pay the competition fees. So the club will cough up for the competition fees for anyone who wants to kind of volunteer and compete, and that's growing. So Rebecca Cooper was our first ever person to go to Masters maybe 6 years ago, and now we took a team of 20. So that's a growing thing, but we just said we're happy to pay for qualifications, we're happy to pay for clothing, we're happy to pay for competition costs. And then other things which are pretty normal, we have a big annual awards that we put on. We have a huge club summer barbecue. And then that's the kind of organised stuff. And then the nice thing is you hear about the not organised by club. This community of volunteers went out and did this. This community of clubbies and coaches went out and did this, separate from club. So I think we've been, I hope, really thoughtful in the last few years to say the way we'll be successful is via the community rather than a hub and spoke where everyone in the club only knows kind of one or two constant people.
Yeah.
So you look across our club and it's just incredible to see all clubbies talking to each other, all volunteers can talk to anyone else in the club. It's not kind of hinged on one or two central people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Love that. Mike, I'm too busy listening to you to actually think about my next question.
it's okay.
Because it's so interesting. We'll take a bit of a different path now, and
Sure.
we'll talk a bit about life-saving sport.
Yes.
So life-saving sport, the Eastern regions has developed more recently.
Yes.
Which from an outsider, I suppose, looking in, looks fantastic, and you can see it growing every year. It seems like it's growing every year. You've got obviously clubs in the Eastern region, which is Norfolk, North Norfolk, Mansley, and Waveney. I think you've had a couple of other clubs make.
Yeah, so we've had Brighton. Brighton brought a good team up this year. We've had Broadstairs before. I think Eastbourne have sent a couple of people before as well. So, so is the question you want to know more about Easterns?
Absolutely, I think it's important to showcase the wonderful competition. On your beach, was it, or was it at?
Yeah, so it was in Lowestoft, which is Suffolk. That's the best accessible beach to run a competition.
Okay.
So first things first, this wouldn't happen without the support from HQ. Okay, so the container or the trailer gets packed up, the IRB comes over, and you guys make the 5-day jungle trip across to us. That's what it feels like. So we're so thankful for that. But yeah, so Easton's was an idea by kind of SLS legend Nick Ayres, who you've competed against Nick for many, many years. He's probably been one of our best athletes here in the East. But Nick Ayres and Joe Thompson, and it started small, just locally at a beach called Sea Palling, and started to grow from there. So that's the nice. What we haven't had in the past is an ability to have some kind of competition focus outside of very small teams coming to nationals and going to masters, and I think that's been a missing thing. So Eastern is a wonderful thing to focus clubs towards the end of the season. It's the business end. It normally happens kind of between masters and youth and nationals. That tends to be the gap. This year we had 170 competitors. So it's a busy beach, lots going on, all age groups. And I think for me, you know, my hope, I mean, it's an open invite. We call it the Eastern Region Championships, but any club can come. So our hope is it grows and becomes bigger, and we see more and more clubs. It's nice to see all disciplines represented. We've only just started ski discipline as a club maybe 2 years ago. Waveney have been there before us, and so they're producing some good ski athletes there as well. But I think that the nice thing around Easterns is you get 1 point of comparison if you only compete against yourself as a club. And now we get this huge community. There's a nice bit of friendly rivalry. There's a good point of comparison to see where you're at. And what I think is coming, we're seeing early signs of this with people like Sam Every. I mean, Nick still, even though he's competing at master's age now, Ed Hutley, Katie Coleman. They're coming through, you know, and we're fairly confident they can start nipping at the heels at a national level, which is inspiring for all of us, as you know, as well as them as individuals. It gives them an opportunity to benchmark themselves against more than just their own club. So
Yeah.
now I've been listening to all your splash pods. You know, I'm sure there was a question a couple ago of, do you think that nationals would ever be held in the East? I would say probably not in the near future, but you never know. But you know, we know what the journey's like, and we know what the infrastructure's like at the same time. So.
Yeah, but you know, the lifesaving community love a road trip. They love a camping trip. You know,
Yeah.
that sort of time to sort of team bond, and so I'm sure and I hope this will encourage teams to head east and give it a go, because it looks like a fantastic event, and we you know, we would love to see that grow more and more. And talking about you know, a road trip as a club, you guys take the road trip as a club to new highs, as you organise a bit of a club trip to Costa Rica.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that trip you run?
Sure. Okay. So there's kind of a 45-second backstory, and then we'll get into the front part of the story. So the backstory is in 2022, I was very fortunate to be in Costa Rica with my family. We've been there before. It's one of our favorite places to go, a place called Playa Hermosa, which is near a large beach called Jaco Beach. Through no design, we just happened to be there in what they call Holy Week, but we call that Easter. And I didn't know this, but Jaco Beach is closest to San Jose. It's a national holiday. Everyone from that city goes to this beach. So 2022, I happened to have an opportunity to help volunteer with the lifeguards there. It's a 6-kilometer beach. They have, on its busiest time, up to 250,000 people on the beach. And there's very low resource, low education on drowning prevention. And in 2022, I just happened to be there when and help volunteer, which was eye-opening. But in the course of being there over the Holy Week, there was a drowning a day. So that's, you can either spectate or think, well, can something be done about this? So we decided as a club, and it was wonderful to see the response of the club, to try and raise some money for them to provide vital equipment. And so we managed to raise £10,000 and give that across to them. So that's now being distributed to upgrade equipment or even provide equipment. It's not even upgrade, it's provide equipment. So Marcin, the lead volunteer over there, is now organising that. But coming back to the club and saying, you know, here's a thing that we can either spectate or do something about. I asked the club if anyone wants to come out in 2023, thinking, I wonder what the response would be. And we took a team of 6 lifeguards out there for Holy Week, which allowed us to do roving patrols and organised patrols for that period of time, and use some of the new equipment. It also engaged the local community. So the local police force turned up with a jet ski, which hasn't happened before, which is a wonderful resource, a rescue ski. And we hope this is the start of something that will carry on year on year on year. I know it's just one beach in just one area, but quite proud to say this year there were no drownings over Holy Week, which I think was a first for them for a long period of time. So I love the sport that we do, but it's sport with purpose. And so it's a nice balance.
Yeah, that's so rad, so cool, so cool. And you know, for you to then take 6 others out with you is really, really cool. So that the aim is again to go next year with a
Yes.
similar size team, or
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I don't think, volunteering for things like that ebbs and flows. Maybe 6 was a big year and it might be 3 next year, or maybe it's 10. I don't know. But the ask is there for, and it's almost like you get a year's lifeguarding experience in 5 days.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's just incredible. Uh, Mike, you've given us so much information here to take away, and I'm sure people probably want to get hold of you,
Sure.
especially in regards to fundraising and stuff. This is quite a large part of club environment, and we
Yes.
need to fundraise to purchase vital equipment, whether it's life-saving equipment or sports equipment or anything. So, how can people get hold of you? Can people get hold of you easy enough?
Yeah, sure. So email is probably the best way. I mean, first things first, like our Facebook page. We like people liking our Facebook page. We have a club Facebook page. You just need to look it up. It's regularly updated. But Mike at nnslsc.org.uk is the way to get hold of me, and I'm happy to help anyone with ideas for fundraising. The more we can do this, the bigger the clubs grow, the more the communities grow, the more we get an opportunity to educate and prevent drowning.